Hello. I barely made it. Okay, well, what are we doing now? We're doing a keynote. So I've got a remote here. Well, welcome to InstructureCon 2015. Glad you guys could all make it. It's, who is here, let's see, who was here last year? Okay, so that means that, well, not necessarily the rest of you are new, because maybe some of you skipped a year. Who's new this year? Who hasn't been? Okay, a lot. Well, the people that were here last year know that it snowed. That was actually really cool. But yeah, no chance of that, I think, this time around. So, okay, well, this is how we start. We start with mental warm-ups. Okay, these is how the keynotes always start. So, here we go. These are supposed to get you kind of warmed up, get you thinking a little bit. All right? The purpose of school is to bring new humans up to speed on humanity's progress so far. Think about that. Okay, are you feeling a little warm? That's all school's for, is just to get us up to date. There's a moment in time when your parents put you down and never pick you up ever again. That kind of, I know, that makes you feel bad a little bit, huh? You know, and I was thinking about this myself, and I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and my son's just about 14, and I'm thinking just to mess with him, I'll pick him up sometime this weekend. I don't know, you probably still do it. I don't know how big your kids are if you have kids, but you can always just do this every once in a while just to keep it fresh. Because otherwise it makes you feel bad a little bit. The mirror might be the most photographed object this century. It's a little depressing, isn't it? You know, but it's probably true. It probably is. Because you can't say it's the phone itself, because there's lots of different kinds of phones, I guess, or lots of different kinds of cameras. But the mirror, yeah, I think this century we're going to do that. Unless something really weird happens 50 years from now, I'm pretty sure the mirror is going to be number one. Okay, what's next? Oh, yeah. Scooby-Doo taught us that the real monsters always turn out to be humans. That's kind of heavy. I don't mean to be a downer. That one was kind of heavy. You know, but it's true, isn't it? Okay, this one's kind of a nerdy one a little bit. It's like for geography nerds. How many geography nerds do we have in the audience? Got a few? Okay, all right, here we go. Alaska is the most northern, western, and eastern state in the U.S. It's because the Aleutian Islands, they actually cross the prime meridian. So it actually is an eastern location. For reals, go look it up. You can win a bar bet that way. That's pretty good money. I think you could be 20, 30 bucks easy on that one. Okay, are you ready for this one? This is the last one. You are now breathing manually. You feel that? Okay. Sorry, I feel really manipulative doing that one a little bit. That one always gets me every time, and it kind of wigs me out, and then I forget about it, and then I go back to automatic breathing. Okay. Blown. All right. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Instructure. So we're a software company, and we like making software that makes people smarter. That's what we try to do. We of course, we make Canvas, and there's lots of other types of software that we're working on related to making people smarter, and that's what we love to do. We're not educators like you guys. We're just software guys. And I think that's okay, not to be an educator and just be a software guy. When Instructure was started, if you know the origin story of Instructure, it was started by a couple of grad students that were taking a course from me. I was an adjunct instructor at Brigham Young University, and I was teaching, and this was a class project of theirs, effectively. It was an intro to business class, intro to venture startups class at the computer science department, but I never considered myself a teacher. I just sort of showed up, and I made a whole bunch of PowerPoint slides, and I did my thing. And I did that for actually a few years, several years. And teaching's hard, it turns out. It's really hard, and it can be frustrating. And I had a relatively small class, and I would always take it really personally when someone dropped my class. Does that happen to you guys? I know not everyone here is a teacher, so we have some administrators here and different types of faculty members. But I know for the teachers, gosh, it was just painful. I'd look out in the class, and someone would be like reading their phone instead of listening to me, and I'd feel bad. Not that I would get mad at that person, I just feel bad. I'm like, oh man, come on. You're going to screw up on the quiz if you don't pay attention. And then when they drop, it was a painful experience. So I got very emotionally involved in teaching. And we'll talk a little bit more about emotion and getting involved here in just a minute. But okay, so Instructure, it was founded in 2008, and we launched in 2011. February 1st of 2011 is when we launched. And we had like maybe 18 or 20 employees, and now we've got over 600, and we've got over 1,400 customers that we work with. And it's been incredible growth. And we were born in the cloud. That was kind of our big thing, is to bring an open learning management system that was cloud-based to the market. And this is Frank Zappa. And his parents. Those are his parents, Francis and Rose. I just found this the other day, because in this slide here we always talk about without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. It's a Frank Zappa quote. Well, I just came across his parents, and I'm like, how about that? Frank's parents. Really nice people, Francis and Rose. And then, I spent a little more time reading about Frank and kind of got weirded out. Okay. We've been growing internationally in the last year or so. So we're kind of all over the map now. We've got an office in Chicago, and we've got one in Hong Kong, and we have one in Sydney, and a bunch of people in London, and we're expanding. So that's kind of exciting. A global footprint. We've always had international schools. Is anyone from outside of the United States that's here? Do we have any? We have some hands. I don't know. Is it going to be too hard to play the who's furthest away game? Should we try that? Anyone think they're from the farthest away? Sydney? Okay, Sydney's pretty far. Okay, anyone further than Sydney? Oh, wait, where are you from? Where? What'd he say? South Australia. All right, okay. I guess that's farther than Sydney. That's pretty good. Where? Detroit? What? So someone's going to have to get this person a mic or play the phone game. Don't be shy, or you can just come up and tell me. They said another Australia? Brisbane. Oh, I've never been to Australia. I saw the movie Rabbit Proof Fence. It's a good movie. It's kind of a downer, though. I guess you probably don't want that representing your country so much. I saw the 1979 Mad Max. Good movie. I heard the new one's good, too. Do you guys feel okay about those movies, or is that kind of weird for you guys? All right, we should move on. Okay. So we've been growing quite a bit. And you see this is our hockey stick graph that shows we continue to grow with lots of different kinds of customers, K-12 customers and higher education customers. And the reason I show this is because you'd think what typically happens is as a company grows, bad things happen to the company. They grow too fast and they become unreliable and have crummy customer service and all these terrible things happen. But we've actually been really good about that, and we've got some data to share with you on that. This is the Canvas uptime from 2009 to 2015, and you got to zoom in. We're going to zoom in a little bit here. So watch. This is from 0 to 100% uptime. Okay, now we zoom in a little bit. Okay, now it's from 90 to 100% uptime, and then we'll zoom in one more. Okay, there we go. Now it starts looking bad, but this is from 99% uptime up to 100% uptime. Okay, and you can see this is from 2009. Look at that, that's cool. Hey, yeah. So you can see we're actually getting more reliable as we grow our customer base, which is really, really cool. Because that means every time we add new schools and new students and new teachers to the system, it becomes more reliable, not less reliable. And now we're somewhere around 4.5 minutes of downtime per month, which is amazing because that happens like on the third Tuesday at like 3 a.m. Australia time. So I don't know when. These are averages. These are averages, but it's the uptime's incredible. It's really amazing. We have an amazing operations team, and yeah, so we're going to keep being the most reliable learning management system in the world. That's the plan, and also we've got some great support. Now this graph here shows the support ticket satisfaction, and we start at 75% and go up to 100%, and it's about 95%. And what that means is when someone's sad or angry and they call into support, 95% of them leave happy, well, or at least satisfied, right? And that's fantastic. That's amazing. And I think it's always going to be 95% because I think 5% of you are just bent out of shape always. But, I think, and that's okay. It's okay. The world needs cranky people, So, there's a little pattern, and I don't know if I'm seeing it myself, but I think it's a very subtle pattern. But I think what happens is around the beginning of the semester, people get a little cranky, and then around finals, they get a little cranky, and during Christmas break, they're like, hey, this is great. And then the semester starts again, they get a little more cranky, and then they're okay, and then the end of this. So I think there's these little perturbations that you can see around beginning of the semester and finals, but these are little micro perturbations. For the most part, yeah, super happy. So we're going to maintain this high level of customer support satisfaction because our customer support team, our customer success team is world class, and they're awesome. Okay, I'm also going to share this graph with you. So I've been gaining weight the last few years. I track this, and that's, I can't explain it very well. And look, it's getting really bad in 2015. You see that? I'm hoping that trend is just a local trend. Okay, that's silly. Okay, let's talk about student-centered learning. That is the theme of the conference this year, is student-centered learning. And there's a lot going on in student-centered learning. And I'm not an expert in student-centered learning, right? I'm an expert in developing software and building a business that cares about educating people. And so there's a lot of very smart people on my staff, and a lot of them work very closely with you, and we know you guys care a lot about student-centered learning. And I'm gonna, well, before I get kind of serious about this, the logo here, SCL the musical, we're doing a musical. I just get this out of the way. I'm not gonna sing, okay? So just get that out of your head. It's not gonna happen. But when I look at SCL, you know what it makes me think of? You guys ever seen SLC Punk, the movie? Okay, that's SLC, that's Salt Lake City Punk. So before I even moved to Utah, I saw SLC Punk, and I think in some ways it's an important film. And if you haven't seen it, you might want to watch it. I don't think it has anything to do with this conference or anything that we're doing here, but it just made me think of that. Now, actually, was anyone into the punk scene in the 80s? Do we have any punks here? A little bit? I spent a little bit of time in Berkeley in the punk scene. I mean, I wasn't ever really a punk there. 924 Gilman Street, punk club. Anyone hang out there ever? A few? Okay. Anyway, let's talk about German words. Okay? Now, what I need here is I need someone from the audience to help me. Who is fluent in German? We need some serious fluency. Way in the back? Are you sure? Because you're going to have to come up here and you're probably going to be made a fool of. So if you're okay with that, okay. All right. Hey, what's up? How you doing? What's your name?
Bill Bartholomew.
Bill. Are you German?
9.
9. Okay. You're like a gringo. I don't know what's the German equivalent of gringo?
Frischling.
A what?
Frischling.
Frischling?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And you're pretty proficient in this language.
Jawohl.
Jawohl. Okay. I've seen some World War II movies, so I know. You know what words I know?
9.
Schnell, schnell. Right?
Yeah.
They say they're always yelling that for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. You ready? I want you to pronounce this word.
Okay.
You'll see it up on the screen. Ready?
All right.
I thought you were a pro.
Yeah. Schwangerschaft-Vorbereitungskurs.
For reals? Wait, you speak German? Were one of you German? What's that? Oh, you're German? You're not fluent. Wait. So you're German, but you're not fluent in German. Oh, your mother's German, and she didn't want to teach you because you were a terrible child. All right, well, that's not useful to us. I'm trying to find someone who can check you.
Okay.
Can anyone check this? Is this legit? It was good?
Yeah.
All right, okay, that's pretty good. Now, the next question is, do you know what this means?
Of course.
What is it? Oh, you're cheating, huh?
What? No, I know.
Okay, tell me, what does it mean?
Schwangerschaft is pregnancy. Vorbereitung is to get ready for, and a course.
That's pretty good. You break it down like that. Yeah, it's a pregnancy preparation course. Now, tell me, I have an announcement to make. No, I'm kidding. So that's why I'm gaining weight, exactly. There's so many inappropriate jokes I could make right now. Okay, why are the Germans so efficient in their words? Why do they just cram them together like this?
It works out nicely, I think, don't you?
It works.
One concept is one word.
Yeah, no, I get that,
Yeah.
but no one else does that.
No.
Like, we don't do that. I mean, like Taco Bell is 2 words.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to keep having fun with German words.
Okay.
I just needed help with this one because I'm not even, I don't know, that's a tough one.
I want to hear you try it.
Okay.
Schwanger.
Schwanger. Wiener Schnitzel. No, I can't do this. Okay, all right, thank you, Bill. Okay. Now, we're going to actually have a little more fun with some German words, and you'll see this will become relevant. I hope. Okay. This is a Stinktier. How do you say this? Stinktier? I'm not going to try to pronounce these properly. I'll say the English translation. The Germans, being very efficient, are actually not terribly imaginative people when it comes to naming animals. This simply means stink animal. Okay? This one means lazy animal. This one is beak animal. Again, not terribly creative. And then we come to Schwein, right? So they got the pig thing down, and in fact, they run with it. They're like, hey, does the animal hang out in the water? we're going to call it a water pig. A Wasserschwein. Does it swim around and kind of look like a whale and a pig? We'll call it a pig whale. How about this one? Sea pig. Okay, that's another one, a sea pig. And finally, they got really creative. They called this one just a spike pig. A spike pig. So we're going to learn a German word today. Not that last one about pregnancy. I don't know when you'd actually use that. Probably a few times in your life, and that's about it. We're going to learn this word. Okay? Now I'm going to help you pronounce it. Ready? Listen carefully.
Einfühlungsvermögen.
Okay? Einfühlungsvermögen. You got that? Gonna do it one more time. Ready? Hold on.
Einfühlungsvermögen.
Let's say that. Einfühlungsvermögen. Now, I'm probably butchering that, but this is the best I can do as a German gringo. Okay? So, by the way, am I offending any Germans here? Yeah, I'm offending Bill, but we know Bill's not a real German. So, how about the half German? Are we cool? Would your mom be okay with this? No. Okay, well that's legit. I wouldn't expect her to be. Okay, now we're going to talk about this English guy who translated a lot of his work into German. Okay? Titchener, okay, he was a psychologist. He worked at Cornell for a number of years. And he took this word, okay, Einfühlungsvermögen, and breaking it down, ein means go into, fühlen, to feel, and Vermögen is ability.
Einfühlungsvermögen.
That's the ability to go into a feeling, right? And he introduced this into the English language the early part of the 20th century, and it's translated as empathy, the ability to go into someone's feeling. Now, what's interesting about this is the Germans actually didn't use this word the way we use it. When the Germans would use that word, they were referring to art or architecture that would create a feeling in you that you could go into that feeling, right? The English guy, Titchener, said, hey, we can apply this to humans, to feeling what other humans feel, right? Germans always get a bad rap for not caring about feelings. Isn't that right? It's terrible. But we defined it in English to be the feeling that you understand and share another person's experiences and emotions, the ability to share someone else's feelings. Okay? And when I think of empathy, if you're a Gen Xer like me, I guess I'm a Gen Xer, I'll be 42 this year, I, of course, think of the Betazoid, Deanna Troi, right? Are you guys really gonna let me get away with that? No, I was waiting for someone to say something. Oh, it's the next generation, it's not Star Wars. I just thought I'd make sure you guys were paying attention there. Okay, so yeah, Deanna Troi, she was an empath. She could feel what other people were feeling. Now, Einfühlung is just feeling it. If you add the Vermögen onto it, you're like Homer Simpson, which is just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. Okay? So he has the ability to feel, but doesn't necessarily utilize that ability. Now that's more like me, right? I mean, I'd like to think I can feel how other people are feeling, but sometimes I don't care, right? And that's sort of, 'cause people think I'm a jerk sometimes because of that. I guess that would probably make me even more of a jerk because I'm consciously not caring. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much, but let's keep going into empathy because empathy is really important. And of course, the reason why it's important is because in our jobs, whether we're developing software or curriculum or teaching, I believe empathy is critical and overlooked. Okay? A lot of people, when they think of empathy, sometimes they they get the difference between sympathy and empathy mixed up. I'll show you a quick little video that explains the difference. And this is from Brené Brown. Brené Brown is an author, and she's written a lot of books on a lot of different philosophical subjects. And she works at the University of Houston graduate. And here's her video on empathy and sympathy. Here we go.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you can climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
It's very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. Now I'm going to share with you some ideas from another philosopher named Roman Krznaric. He's missing a vowel. Don't know that happened. I think he's an English guy, but I'm not sure where that last name came from, but it's Krznaric. He wrote a book about empathy, and he talks a lot about outrospection, right? A lot of us know the word introspection, right, where we're analyzing our own feelings and thinking about ourselves. I think taken to the extreme, especially in today's world, that can quickly lead to narcissism. Not that introspection is negative. It's just that, again, you take it to the extreme, you start to not interface or think about others outside of yourself. In his book, he does something really cool that I really thought was great. He talks about Star Trek, okay? And I'm going to share a story from an episode called The Devil in the Dark. It's Stardate 3196.1. And incidentally, those are made up, those star dates. They don't actually work really well. Each season, they sort of just made them up as they went. But Janus 6 is a planet where these miners are doing a lot of mining. That's what they do. And there was a creature, and the creature was called the Horda. It's a big, scary creature. I'll show you what the Horda looks like in a minute. And the Horda was killing the miners, right? Killed a whole bunch of miners, and the miners on Janus 6 were freaking out. And so the Enterprise showed up to find out what was going on. And when they went down there, they encountered this creature, and they tried to shoot it with their phasers, and nothing happened. It was a scary rock monster that couldn't be hurt by phasers. So they tuned him up. They overclocked their phasers, and they shot it, and they wounded the creature. But then Captain Kirk started to feel something. And he wanted to understand more about this creature. And so he asked Spock to do something scary. He asked Spock to do a Vulcan mind meld with the creature, to start feeling what that creature was feeling. Even though this creature killed a bunch of people, Kirk had an intuition that there was something more that they needed to understand. I'm going to show you a segment so we can learn more about what happened on Janus 6.
Mr. Spock, you must reestablish communications. I want to know why it suddenly took to murder.
To obtain that kind of communication, Captain, it will be necessary to touch it.
You've seen how the creature destroys.
This is like office hours, huh?
What in the name of... What is Spock doing? It's wounded badly. You've got to help it. Help that? Go take a look. You can't be serious. The thing is virtually made out of stone. Help it. Treat it. I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. You're a healer. There's a patient. That's an order.
Pretty heavy stuff. Pretty heavy stuff. And I admire Captain Kirk for saying, you know what? I know this creature's weird
Point-of-view gun
and ugly.
conveniently does precisely what its name suggests. That
Well,
is, if
we're
you
gonna learn
point it
about
at someone
Hitchhiker's
and
Guide to
pull
the
the trigger,
Galaxy now.
They instantly see things from your point of view.
Give me that thing.
This is the point of view gun.
It was designed by Deep Thought, but commissioned by a consortium of intergalactic angry housewives who, after countless arguments with their husbands, were sick to the teeth of ending those arguments with the phrase, "You just don't get it, do you?"
Give me that thing. It won't affect me. I'm already a woman.
Okay, we get a little bit of sexism in there, I guess. But people do believe that women have a little more empathy naturally than men. But the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy solved the problem a little different than a Vulcan mind meld. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they were seeking after the point of view gun. And the point of view gun, as you learned, of course, when you're shot with that, you instantly understand the point of view of the person you shoot. If this gun existed today, I think we'd have far less wars than we have now. I think the world would be an amazing place. Imagine if it was like the Wild West and everyone had a peacemaker. You know, it was an open carry law everywhere, and when anyone gave you trouble, you could just shoot them with a point of view gun, and there would be peace because you'd understand each other. Unfortunately, we don't have that. I want to tell you about a woman. Oh, by the way, we had 2 sci-fi segments in a row. The reason I love science fiction is because it's so progressive. You know, they're always pushing the envelope on how to solve social problems. And when I was in high school, that's where The Next Generation kind of was floating around, but I still always loved the old Star Treks. Captain Kirk, I feel like, is my captain. Even though I wasn't alive when those were going on. That was what the reruns were all about. But Captain Kirk, he always, I think him combined with Spock was a good balance. Picard, he was already balanced. But I think Kirk and Spock is a great duo. But, okay, I'm going to tell you about Patricia Moore. Patricia Moore is an industrial designer and gerontologist. And she didn't have a point of view gun, but she wanted to understand how people lived so she could be a better designer. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about, one really neat thing about her, she was on the original Americans with Disability Act, the team that created the guide for products for disabled people. She was on the original team during that legislative process. She's well known because she did an experiment. When she was 26 years old, she transformed herself into an 80-year-old woman. And she visited over 100 cities in the US and in Canada and lived as an old woman and walked around downtown. And sometimes she was a wealthy old woman, sometimes she was a poor old woman. And she put this on and just wanted to feel what it was like to live in that scenario. And she had many adventures. Some of them were good, some of them were kind of awful. I'm going to show you a quick video segment about how this affected the way she thinks about design.
I realized that I didn't want to just be an actress pretending to be an elder, but that what hadn't been accomplished, at least with the variable of age, was a true immersion character, an empathic character. So we developed all the prosthesis that would alter my body, give me curvature of the spine, take away my vision by using clouded lenses, plugging my ears so I couldn't really hear, and wearing non-operating hearing aids, taping my hands, my legs, using splints, so that I couldn't run, I couldn't bend, I couldn't raise my arms. I needed the support of people around me in the community to help me do the simplest of things, because I was living in this shell, a body changed by time. You could see this very sad distinction that exists in our world today because we did not design and build structures, services, places, spaces for the presence of elders and for people who do things differently than the norm. Design is supposed to empower people. It's not supposed to disable people. And the only time I even use the word disable is in chiding designers and saying, "No, we didn't do a good job there, let's try again." People aren't disabled. Each of us has some level of capacity, some level of ability. Design is intended to meet that level and exceed it. And so it goes beyond compensation to thriving, not just surviving by design. So wherever there's a roadblock in our lives, it's because somebody didn't do their job right. And on that point, I'm adamant.
She is most well known for designing the OXO Good Grip utensils. And many of you probably have these in your kitchen. And these are just easy to use. She also was involved in mammogram device work, making those more comfortable, door handles, all these simple things in our lives. And her goal, of course, was to make it easiest to use for the people in our society that have more difficulty than your average person. I need to talk about monkeys. Because I always have to talk about monkeys. These are rhesus monkeys. They're my favorite kind of monkeys because they get used the most in experiments. I only think of the friendly experiments. And I'm going to talk about Dunbar, Robin Dunbar. And you see from this quote, he is really fun to have at parties. But the reason I want to talk about him is about Dunbar's number, which is about 148. Okay? Now, what Dunbar's number means is he studied in the early 90s a bunch of monkeys. And what he found is based on the cranial capacity of the monkey, they had the ability to have meaningful relationships with about 148 other primates. Well, I take that back. The 148 number is the human number based on this ratio that he developed. Okay? And then these other guys came up, Kilworth, I'm going to go back. Kilworth and Bernard came up with a number of 231 for humans. And so somewhere between 148 and 231 is the number of people that you can have a meaningful relationship with. Okay, so that's Dunbar's number. Kilworth, Bernard is not as fun to say as Dunbar, so they're not as popular, but everyone knows what you're talking about in the field if you refer to Dunbar's number. Okay, so let me tell you about Dunbar's number and why this is relevant to empathy and our jobs is, just an illustration on Dunbar's number. There's a blog called No Surprises There, and this guy named Hugh did an analysis of birthday comment replies. You know, on Facebook, you're like, hey, it's my birthday. And everyone's like, yay, happy birthday. Well, what he wanted to understand is he used that as a measurement to indicate if you have a true relationship with someone, if they wish you a happy birthday as a proxy. And what he found is the number of friends that you have, it doesn't matter if you have 2,000 friends, still about 100 or so wish you happy birthday. Or if you have 100 friends, it's somewhere around 70 or 80. So it approximates Dunbar number. And what this means is if you have 1,000 or 2,000 Facebook friends, fact is they're not really your friends, okay? If they were your friends, they'd say happy birthday when it was your birthday. So let me show you your true social network. And this is real. This is something to think about here. This is you and your loved ones, your tight circle, your family. And then after that, you kind of have your Dunbar number, okay, 150 or 200 people that you consider having a relationship with. You know, you remember their name, that sort of thing, okay? And then your contacts. These are people, this guy here. Okay, so everyone might have friends like this. But those are your contacts, okay? And then you have your contacts of contacts, people that are like people in your social group, okay, that you can relate to. And then you've got your randoms. And your randoms are just everybody else, okay? So these are these people, just literally random people from all over the planet. And the reason why it's important to understand these social groups is how it relates to empathy. Okay, you can look at a graph where your y-axis is your empathy and your x-axis is these different social groups, and a typical curve might look like this, right? It drops sharply after you and yours, and approaches zero near randoms. And there's a default level here. And what I'm going to ask all of us to do today is attempt to increase this default level. I'm not going to suggest that you only focus on you and yours or your Dunbar number, but if you increase your default level, it'll have a corresponding effect that's disproportionate to you and yours and your Dunbar level, and you're going to be more empathetic to strangers. And if everyone in the world did this, the world would be a significantly better place, and you will be able to do your jobs better. I will be able to do my job better. And let's talk a little bit. There's a lot of ways to increase empathy. We're just going to go really quick and talk about a few different ways to increase empathy. One of them is be curious about people, okay? About 20 years ago, this was us waiting around, you know, at the DMV, at the bus stop, and we talked because there's nothing else to do. And this is us today, right? We don't talk. We all have things to put in our faces to shut the world out, okay? Outrospection. You need to examine what's outside of yourself. So this is a really simple thing to do, is be curious about people. Now, the fact of the matter is, most people are boring, okay? This is just true. However, you know what? If you're around a bunch of strangers, you're probably never going to see them again. So you can afford to be a little weird, okay? And you can ask them questions. Now, they might think you're a freak. You don't have to be creepy, right? But you could ask them, some fun questions. Hey, how you doing? Don't ask them, hey, what do you think about the Middle East, and the wars going on? You can keep it high level. You can ask something simple like, silly party questions. If you were to meet a famous dead person and have dinner with them, who would that be? That's a pretty innocent question. And you just ask it, and if they look at you like you're weird, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't know them, and it's okay. You can move on with your life. But everyone has something interesting going on with them, even if they might be a boring person. This is a fun exercise. It really is. There's no downside to it. Because again, when you're hanging out with people that you don't know, it's okay. There's nothing at stake. Now, if you're hanging out with people you know, they already know you're weird and it's not a big deal anyway. So this is one way you can increase your empathy, getting to know people, be curious. 2, be vulnerable. This is interesting. This is Brian Acton. He tweeted, I got denied from Twitter. He tried to get a job at Twitter, and this was a few years back, and he tweeted to his network. He said, hey, I got rejected. A few months after that, he's like, I got rejected by Facebook also. They turned me down. He's being vulnerable. Actually, he's being vulnerable, and he's probably being over-vulnerable. This might be oversharing, but maybe his network was very small at the time. Now his network's quite large. But this being vulnerable, sharing information where it doesn't put you in the best light with other people that are close to you in your network is a way to create empathy, because you're exchanging very precious parts of you with a select group of people, and that lowers barriers. Now, incidentally, Brian Acton, just a few years later, his startup was bought out for $19 billion from Facebook, ironically, and so he's just fine. But at the time, he was just some guy, and he was getting rejected, and he was sharing publicly. So this is fun, and he's not a jerk about it. This little side note is, hey, don't be a jerk. Own your failures. Be okay with your failures. I think that's brave of him. And now, in real life, he might be a jerk. I have no idea. I don't know this guy, but he was vulnerable, and I think that's very cool, and he wasn't kind of sour grapes about that. Here's another thing you can do. Consume books and films about others. Now, a lot of people think reading and watching movies is a waste of time. It's not. As educators, you guys know it's not. Studies have shown that people that read fiction especially are more empathetic. They put themselves in the lives of a character, and they begin to feel that feeling. This is just a quick sample of really interesting pieces of media that, and you can make your own list. It's important when you're consuming the media to understand that when you feel what the characters are feeling, that's an empathetic response. You should cultivate that. You should share with others after the movie. This is an important social exercise, and I think a lot of people, if you're going to go watch the Avengers, maybe that'll make you more empathetic, and you don't have to watch a downer, serious movie, but try to find the empathy in media around yourself. Listen, talk, show, communicate. Let me show you a quick little cartoon. This is a butchered version of an XKCD comic, so apologize to him. But, okay, there's this hat guy, and he finds a hole. And he's like, oh gosh, this is not good. This is a hazard. I'm going to go warn someone. Hey, guy with hair, there's a hole. Watch out. Now the hair guy's like, okay, there's a strange hat guy talking at me. He's not really listening to what hat guy's saying. And a lot of us do that. Someone comes up and starts talking, and you look at them, and you instantly your brain goes into autopilot, right? Because of just their appearance. And the hat guy's like, no, you got to listen to me. There's a dangerous hole. And now the hair guy's just like, okay, now the hat guy's spazzing about something. And he's not really listening. He thinks he might be listening, but he's really not. And so finally the hat guy's like, you're not listening. And the hat guy walks away, And now the hair guy's like, oh, well, there goes the hat guy walking away. He had a fit. He's bailing. And what happens is the hair guy falls in the hole. So this is one type of communication and is an illustration of a failure of communication. Let me show you an example of a communication that's effective. Okay, this guy's clearly French. And he sees the hole, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go warn someone about the hole. And he sees this guy, and he's like, look, I want you to come with me. And the guy, the bald guy, I guess he's a bald guy, he's like, okay, French guy wants me to come with him? What's going on here? Again, he's not listening. He just has this image of an immediate automatic response. But the French guy persists and says, no, here, come with me. Okay, bald guy still doesn't know what's going on. And he says, look, there's a hole. Now they both walk away and they know exactly what's going on because the French guy communicated effectively. And his primary method was showing. Okay, two really, silly examples, but the point is that we need to communicate and be effective in that communication. I had a really good quote from Bernard Shaw, and it didn't make it. I think it's the worst mistake we can make is to think, have the illusion that communication has taken place when it hasn't, right? So if we increase our empathy, we can feel if someone is understanding what we're saying. And keep at it until you know that they understand what you're saying. Okay, final thing. I'm gonna share a story about parking. I was going somewhere and I was at the airport and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm late. I need to park. And there wasn't a lot of parking spaces there, and I kept driving around this one area because there was this one space, but it was a terrible space because some jerk like parked badly. It was probably a big truck. I don't know. But he parked badly, and I'm like, I don't want to try to squeeze in there. That's not going to work. But finally, I said, okay, I got to catch this plane, so I'm going to squeeze in there. But I knew if I got in there, the guy next to me wouldn't be able to get in and out of their car. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to squeeze way over next to big truck guy and give this guy a lot of room. So I got really close over, and I did my best. And then I got out of my car, and I had to do one of these, to get out. And I felt fat, but it didn't matter. I was trying to be a good guy. And then I got on the plane, and then I went on my trip, and I came back. When I came back, the environment had changed. And those cars weren't there anymore, just my car. And my car was parked a little weird. It was kind of scrunched up against the line because I had to make room. And there was a note on my car. And it said, "You a-hole." And it just went on and on about the kind of car I drove and what kind of person I probably was. And it was awful. It was terrible. And I thought, and I remember, I felt so horrible inside. I was like, and then I stopped because I'm like, my feelings got hurt. This is quite interesting. This note from an anonymous person made me feel bad. And I thought, when's the last time I felt this bad? And I was thinking, I'm like, I have a pretty good life. I don't really feel bad that often. But this note made me feel bad inside. And I found that fascinating. And I recognized it, and I thought, gosh, I wonder if I make people feel this way sometimes. I bet I do. I'm a horrible person. Oh, gosh. And I had this really interesting moment of reflection. And then I crunched up the note, and I threw it on the ground. And then I felt bad. I'm like, oh, I'm littering now. So I put that back in my car. And then I drove off, and I was just like in this weird funk. I'm like, wow, some stranger thought I was a jerk and said all these horrible things about me. And I thought, I wonder if I could sit down with the person that wrote the note and just be like, hey, let me explain. I was trying to be cool and help this other car out because there's this other guy. What's funny, ironic, of course, is how I was saying the big truck guy was a jerk. Maybe that happened to him. I don't know. Maybe I'm a jerk. I don't know. Point is, you need to identify when you have emotions and catalog them. Be like, oh yeah, that's what this feels like. So when you're talking with someone and they feel bad, you can draw on those experiences and be like, yes, that's right. That's that feeling. I get it. Recognize your own emotions. Okay, quick summary. Curiosity, consume media, truly communicate and identify your own feelings. Oh wait, hold on. I'm not going to make a phone call. There's a bingo game, Keynote Bingo. I want to help you guys out. Panda. Partners? Okay, this does not count as me answering my phone during the keynote. Have I done a hair flip? All right, okay. Have I said whoa? Okay, whoa. All right, we got a bingo? Oh, really? Did you just lie? Roadmap? Okay, all right. You're welcome. Hey, okay, something to understand really quick about empathy. A lot of what we're talking about is very soft stuff, right? And you're like, hey, you're feeling a certain way. I want to touch on a couple points. One is, just because you're empathetic with someone doesn't mean you have to agree with them, okay? If a student comes in and says, oh, let me tell you the sob story, you don't have to be like, oh, it's cool, you can take the test later. You know, like you can feel and still be like, you can be like Homer Simpson, I feel, I understand, I don't care, you're going to accept this consequence. It's okay. You don't have to feel like a non-empathetic jerk just because you disagree with someone. But it's really important to feel that, okay? Number two is, when you're practicing empathy, empathize with bad guys, like James Bond villains or jerks, in real life, and try to feel what they're feeling. Again, you don't have to agree with them, but it's really important to try to feel our, life's opponents, right? So those are the two things I wanted to share with you. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone. It doesn't mean everyone's feelings are valid, okay? I mean, if someone has irrational feelings, you can say, okay, I think I can feel how this person's feeling, but they're wrong. It's okay to feel like you don't need to tell them that, it depends on the context, but just understand this empathy is not a free pass, free for all, everyone can do everything kind of thing. It's just really important to feel how they're feeling and then act accordingly. Okay, so those are a couple points I wanted to make. Now, with student-centered learning, it's important to understand over the next couple days here at the conference, all of us are students, okay? All of us are students. And if you're not, if that strikes you as a strange thing to say, then you need to hear it even more. Right? You are all students. I am a student. At Instructure, student-centered learning is we need to focus on the literal students. That's how the company was really founded. A couple of students said, oh my gosh, I want a better learning management system that works for me. And I was the voice of the teacher, the amateur teacher that said, hey, you might want to change some things around for the teacher. But it's also figurative, of course. We're students ourselves. We need to be empathetic to you, our users, right? And we try, we really do, right? But we're crummy at it, right? We screw up, we got bugs, we make interfaces that don't make sense, but mostly it's pretty good. But that empathy, we continuously try and fail and succeed and try and fail. And the most important thing you can take away from this journey of empathy and this encouragement of being an empathetic person is to keep at it. Keep trying. You don't reach a plateau where you're like, I am now self-actualized. I have empathy. What's next? You have to keep doing it, okay? We, as product developers, have to keep doing it, right? Even this presentation, right? There are some people that couldn't hear or see this presentation, right? I don't know how they feel. We could have maybe accommodated them. And in Canvas, there's sections where it's difficult to accommodate everybody. It's just a hard, hard problem. But you know what the most important thing is to recognize everybody that's in your network, your real, true network, and begin to be aware. That's step one. And then step two, try your best and keep trying, okay? So over the next couple of days, focus on yourself being a student, okay? That's the introspection part. And then outrospection, think about your own network, right? Your coworkers, your literal students, your boss, employees here at an Instructure, your other vendors, partners, and try to practice some empathy. Understand where they're coming from. Understand how you communicate with them. This will make you a better human. It'll make you a better customer. It'll make us a better vendor, okay? And if we all work at this, it'll trickle down to our students. And one of the great things about being in this industry, of course, is that we make a huge, aside from parents, I think the next most powerful influence on the world are the educators. And if we have that power of empathy that we're delivering at our institutions, that will have a dramatic effect on this planet. And here is the time when you can create a little lab for yourself over the next couple days and then bring that back to your own institutions. All right. Next, I want to talk about the Worldwide Non-Commercial Spaces launches as it correlates with sociology doctorate awards. Oh, but I can't because something weird's going on. I don't even know what this is. I feel like I'm in Mardi Gras. Okay, you guys are supposed to get up and follow these weirdos. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.